how the tournament ended, and what we have to look forward to.
So yeah, a couple of things here. So number one, when you were talking about that move that Bailey and Kincaid were performing, and all of a sudden I didn't get to see it because, like I said, I was right pretty much beside the hard camera, and the next thing you know, you just hear this thud, and it wasn't like a thud you hear from like a normal wrestling move. It was kind of like, oh shit. And then next thing you know, the crowd completely went silent. Some of the staff for Smash Wrestling had gone up to just to check on them. And all of a sudden, I immediately kind of put my phone down and go and look. And they're both on the ground. And, it's wrestling. It's entertainment. But at the same time, it's the moves are damaging. It's one of those things where all of a sudden it's like, they're doing their best to entertain you. But the fact is that, it's one slip, especially being in the ring and getting sweaty and everything else, and all of a sudden and I for one of the first real times I get to actually feel what the ropes felt like during the trivia thing. It's like a garden hose, it's a bigger version of a garden hose, and you can imagine these guys, perspiration, everything else, and hitting these ropes, and all of a sudden they go to perform a move, and next thing you know, it topples, and next thing you know, one of these guys get hurt, and that's what I thought it was. So when these guys were down for a good 3-4 minutes, and I'm talking Mike Bailey and Jason Kincaid and Tyson and Uno were competing in the ring, I was thinking, okay, these guys are done. Like, they've got to basically call an audible. And sure enough, they both get up, and Bailey hits his stomp, and Kincaid comes off the other turnbuckle on the opposite side of the ring. And I was a little bit confused because I thought it was one fall to a finish. So I thought that first guy to get the pinfall wins. So when Bailey hit the win, I was like, okay, well, that's it. Bailey's moving on. And all of a sudden, Kincaid flies off the top and then pins Tyson. And I was like, what the hell? And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. So fatal four-way. So next thing I know, it's Kincaid and Bailey left in the ring, and the rest of the match was absolutely phenomenal. You can go to Sean's Facebook or eventually my Facebook and see some of the moves that were performed. It's like, holy crap, like, these guys are just phenomenal as far as wrestling 3 matches over. And the amount of endurance that these guys have to be able to put on matches like this, especially in the main event. So Speedball was exactly what his name is, Speedball. Like, he was hitting moves left and right. It could have went either way as far as the finish went. It was a good way to end the tournament. Definitely agree with Mike Speedball Bailey getting the win. It'll be interesting to see him against Kevin Bennett. Whether or not the experience gets involved at Super Showdown, we'll see. One thing, Tyson come out, and he's like one guy who's impressed me as far as this tournament goes. I thought he was finally going to announce Carter, but it wasn't Carter. It ended up being Jason Kincaid. So complete contrast of styles between Tyson Dukes and Jason Kincaid. But as far as the two go, it's going to be an entertainment, probably a tough match between the two, because Tyson's got to get hit with a lot of high flying moves, and Kincaid is going to be getting hit with a lot of old school kind of power moves. So Super Showdown 7, 2 matches you said unofficially announced at this point, and one is and one isn't, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So the one that is announced, I'm going to make a prediction here. Kevin Bennett stays champ, and as far as Tyson Dukes versus Kincaid goes, I think it's unofficial at this point, but I think Kincaid's going to get the best of Tyson Dukes if that match happens. So I say Tyson Dukes got to end up losing that Super Showdown 7.
Interesting. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break and come back and review everything that's happening the rest of the summer with Smash Wrestling and the events, and then move on to New Japan, because they had the big show, Best of the Super Juniors, that just finished up the other day. Scumbags of Wrestling are always looking for ways of giving back to the community, and we're going to do just that with Ethan's Fight, happening on June 23rd at Montcalm Secondary School, right here in London, Ontario. The card starts at 1 p.m. and goes till 4, with tickets starting at $10 for kids, $15 for general admission, and $20 for VIP. Ethan's Fight is a charity wrestling show to benefit Ethan Hayes. In January 2019, a cancerous mass was discovered in 6-year-old Ethan's brain. He immediately had surgery at Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto to remove the mass and relieve the swelling caused by the buildup of cerebral spinal fluid. The 8-hour surgery removed most of the mass, but some elements were attached to his brainstem and could not be extracted. Along with the remnants of the tumor in his brain, cancer was also present throughout Ethan's spine. Luckily, he qualified for a study which would combat cancer with revolutionary form of proton radiation treatment only available at St. Jude's Children's Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. The money raised will help alleviate the financial burden that Ethan's family will be facing during Ethan's upcoming chemotherapy at Sick Kids in Toronto. Ethan's mother has taken a 1-year leave of absence from work for both her jobs to care for Ethan through all phases of his treatment. The main event is going to be a big one, with the first time ever meeting of Impact Wrestling and London's own Cody Deaner taking on the King of the North, Carter Mason, one of independent wrestling's hottest wrestlers who is having an astonishing comeback year. You won't want to miss this main event and all the other matches that are set to happen during Ethan's Fight, the charity wrestling event show happening at Montcalm Secondary School on June 23rd at 1 p.m. Check out Facebook for more information. Tyson Dukes is currently one half of the Smash Wrestling Tag Team Champions and one of the pillars of wrestling in Ontario. He's had a very impressive career over the past 2 decades, and it's only natural that aspiring wrestlers would want to learn from a veteran of his caliber. Since October 2017, Tyson opened up the Tyson Dukes Wrestling Factory here in London, Ontario. Students learn all aspects of wrestling. The first graduates like Jim Strider, Violet Lee, and Jordan James are making their names for themselves on the indie scene. Whether you're a student or a supporter, you can now be a part of the club and purchase your own beautiful zip-up hoodie. They're just $40 up to extra large and $45 for larger sizes. Contact Tyson Dukes Wrestling Factory directly on Facebook to order yours today.
I'm Kyle Boone, one handsome SOB, and you're listening to the Scumbags Wrestling Podcast.
And we're back. So thank you for still staying with us. I can't believe it's another huge episode of our show, episode number 59, and it's going to be a big one with Smash Wrestling.
Are you
as
kidding
we've
me?
already done. I know. It's already...
No, seriously, how long have you known me? Quite a while. When have you ever known me to shut up?
I know, same here. Especially when we can actually have good banter. So this is going to be another probably 2-part episode and one dedicated to Smash Wrestling because we're just now hitting the calendar. But to be honest, we had 2 whole shows to review with 16 great matches, a trivia, everybody poops reading. How can you condense it any shorter than what we've done so far and have an in-depth conversation at the same time?
Okay, first of all, it's wrestling, so it's never in-depth. Secondly, thank God I'm not editing this because, it's the editing process. It's so hard on a podcast sometimes, but I think we're getting better at this. So, yeah, good luck with editing this one, too.
I like this casual banter that we have. There's going to be a couple parts that I need to cut out because of some silence, but, us not knowing quickly off the top of our head some people's names, it's because we're so excited about what's going on and we forget these people by name.
Well, I'm just going to say, so you can leave. You don't have to edit my part. My apologies to Jody Threat. Again, Gail Kim and Tessa Blanchard were on my mind, and I, but anyways, I will never forget the name of Jody Threat again. So if you don't want to edit, you can leave this apology in there.
Exactly. So as I said, we're going to get onto the calendar quickly. July 6th, just had wrestling, Franklin Horner Community Center. It's the semifinals of the Invitational Tag Team Tournament involving 5 other companies. We definitely know that Super Reversos, Super K and El Reverso are going to take on Kill Screen. One of the matches, we're still waiting to find out what else is coming from the other organizations to help form the rest of this tournament. It's also going to be a match with Sean Spears, formerly Ty Dillinger, and then the next night, July 7th, right here in London, it's 10-10-10. And they've been actually busy working on making a bunch of announcements for today involving 10-10-10 as opposed to just Add Wrestling. And it's huge for us here in London because we know that there's going to be a huge match with the Ontario Four Horsemen in a tag team. Derek Wilde is coming out of retirement for this night to team with Tyson Dukes to take on the team of Sean Spears and Cody Deaner. So the Ontario Four Horsemen are going to be in the ring together one night, tag teaming it up against each other. Your thoughts on that quickly before I mention what else is happening on that card.
Well, I've been swearing this whole entire podcast, so I was at work and all of a sudden I think I'm on break or lunch and I'm going through Facebook and I see the post that Smash has posted something new in the 10-10-10 event. So I go and look and I see the image and I'm like, okay, well, they're all going to be there. And now all of a sudden I realize they're all in the tag team match. So I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And it's one of those things that, I've had the honor to see all four of these guys wrestle live. Not like this, not in a tag team match like this. So to anybody out there that is looking to get an idea of what Ontario independent wrestling is all about, that match right there is what it's all about. I've seen every one of these guys in different gimmicks. I've seen them all as far as, growing, so to speak. I think one of the first matches I saw in Ontario Indie was Cody Deaner versus Derek Wilde, and it was Danger Boy Derek Wilde, and he had Jennifer Blake with him as his valet manager, and it was against Cody Steele, and that was in PWX back in like the early, so it was probably mid 2000s in Tilsonburg. Probably the same event I got to meet Jay Smith at for the very first time, but these guys have been around a while, and to me, as far as Canadian independent wrestling fan goes, that is bucket list right there. That is probably, I don't care who else is on the card that night. You could throw an Ultimo Dragon on that one as well. And I would say that Ultimo Dragon match would be second compared to that tag team match. So, it's only, what is it today? June 6th. So we're about a month away.
Yep.
And I'm already marking out for that match. And just four local boys, and it's an amazing, it's amazing to me as a wrestling fan for Smash to be putting and presenting something like this to the hardcore fans in the area. So I just want to say thank you, Smash Wrestling, for that.
Yeah. Also happening on that card is going to be a gauntlet match, and it's going to include Maritime's Marcus Burke, the main show debut of Pharaoh Bowman. He's part of the Wrestling Factory. The return of Jody Threat, plus Jim Strider, Alec Realm, Chris Mitchells, and both members of Physical Attraction, The Muscle, and Violet Lee. There's going to be the championship on the line as Kevin Bennett defends against Psycho Mike Rollins and Cody Blade. He is Little Bay, a wrestler, rapper from the Maritimes as well. And so there's already 3 matches signed coming up, and we're, as you said, a month away. The official announcement, though, as you mentioned, from Smash Wrestling involving the Ontario Four Horsemen comes as follows. Huge match announcement. These 4 men have been so important in the history of wrestling in London, and we couldn't be more thrilled to get them in the ring, all in the same ring. Sean Spears, known to many as Ty Dillinger, returns home to London to team with Cody Deaner to take on Tyson Dukes and a special return of Derek Wilde. These 4 best friends will be together in a match for one last time as part of Spears' homecoming. It's going to be something special, and you can get your tickets by going to smash-wrestling.com, and that is July 7th at the London Music Hall, part of 10-10-10. Then we move on